we're going to make today is this fun little jelly roll quilt that I just quickly put together. I'm sure there's other patterns like it out there, but we're going to do it this way, so hopefully you enjoy it. There are one jelly roll is all it takes for the quilt, and then we use 2-inch sashing. It'll end up being 1.5 inch after we use up our seam allowances, but we're using Kona Ash for it. So here is the Kona Ash, and then we're using Serenity by Amy Ellis for Moda. So it's a super fun one. We have it in the shop, so quantities are limited, but if you like it and want it, by all means it's there, and there's probably a link up above that you can go to it. There's coral, beige, gray, blues, blacks. It's kind of a fun mishmash ICAT type, so keep it in mind, but it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a really super cute one to get started. So what we're going to do, our first step is we're going to bust this open, and then we are going to cut these into individual strips. I'm going to do it more in a block pattern as opposed to a full strip along the bottom. So, but I'll give you the options for both as we go. All right, so I'll meet you back here with your rotary cutter and ruler. All right, everyone, are you ready to get started? I know I am. I already went ahead and cut all the strips out so I could talk you through the measurements for the quilt, and then I'm going to show you how to put the blocks together, and then we'll meet back here for row assembly. So first things first, out of the gray, you're going to want 21 12-inch by 1.5 inch, so 12-inch by 1.5 inch. And then you're going to want 42, so exactly the double amount of 8.5 inch by 2.5 inch. These aren't cut exactly because I like to trim mine, but those are the exact measurements that you will have for your square. So you can cut them a little longer if you want to square up your blocks like I have here. So with that said, these are going to be our border pieces around the individual blocks. And then from there, what we do is I cut out, I'm going to put these all like this so you can see them real quickly. I cut all of these out, and these are all going to be 8.5 by 2.5 as well. Now, if you notice, I pulled out, I have two separate piles here. This pile only had one strip each of their particular colorway. So I got 2 of the 8.5 inch strips, and then the rest I got, I think 4 or 5 out of them. I can't remember exactly, but so what I did is I separated it out because I know when we have 18 blocks on our quilt. So if we look at this real quick, we have 18 blocks that go across here. So I know that I need to put at least one of these in each of these blocks so I don't end up with a block that has multiple duplicates of that. That's just how I am. If you're super scrappy, go through it. Here in a minute, you're going to see me trying to get out of my own non-scrappy ways. But for now, that's kind of how I do it. I look at the math and then try to figure it out before, so I don't have to put it all up on my design wall and then pull it all back down and all of that good stuff. So this section, I need to have one in each of the 4 strip sets. And then this section, I can just kind of go crazy. And I know that I'm going to be using multiples over and over again. So again, this is 8.5 by 2.5 inch. So obviously just 8.5 inch strips off your jelly roll. And then the smaller pieces, what we do here is these are going to be, let me make sure I say it right to you, 4.5 inch by 2.5 inch strips. And they're going to make our pattern on here, the almost crisscross pattern, this pattern right here. So that's what we're going to put together. And what I did is I separated out, if you'll notice, I have all of these ovals over here. And this is how I'm getting out of my own scrappy way. So I know by the math that I need 3 of these per section of the block. So each block will have at least 3 of these diamonds, just based on the pure math of how many strips I have, how many strips I need. So for me to get out of my own way, because there's no way that these make a perfect, square sentiment, and I kind of don't want it that way. I want it to be scrappy. So what I'm doing is I'm going to separate these out, put them in a basket, put these in a basket, and I'm literally going to draw 3 of these out of the basket, and then the rest out of this pile, and put them together however it is. Whatever comes out is what comes out, unless it's repeating, obviously, and then I'm going to throw it back and fish again. But That's how I'm going to get over my scrappy phobia. I don't know why. I just like everything to match and look very well coordinated. But I've calmed myself because this is all from the same line. So I know they will all go together no matter what. And in the end, it'll look good. So to put your blocks together, the first block you're going to do is the 4 strips. So just grab 4 strips, throw them together, and sew them up. And then you're just going to repeat that 16 times. And we'll go from there just like that. And then the next one is, it's missing from my, oh, here it is. Next one is, here's my scrappy. See, I'm getting out of my own way here. But the next one, you just do multiples of the 2. So you just put 2 together, 2 together, 2 together, 2 together, match the seams in the middle. So I would recommend putting the top 2 and then the bottom and pressing opposites. So if you look at the back of my item here, you can see I pressed opposite so I could nest my seams perfectly. And we're just going to repeat this over and over again. And we'll come back here for final assembly, but I do kind of want to show you what it's going to look like real quick if I can fit it all in the frame. So here's going to be one block. Then you're going to have your other block just like this. We're going to take our smaller gray strips. Remember, I said these are longer because I like to trim up my blocks. I don't want to have to worry about the stretch of the fabric or anything. So we're going to end up coming in here like this. And then on this side, we're going to go like this. And then this block gets a small, and this block gets a small, because then this block has a long, so they'll match up, and this block has a long at the bottom here. If you can kind of see that, let me see if I can tilt my little camera down. Sorry for the shake that's about to happen. And then you're going to have another small one here. So as you can see, that's how we're going to frame out all of our blocks. It's going to keep going down, and now you're probably thinking, well, down here at the bottom of these blocks, let me move this up a little. Down at the bottom, you're going to end up with, you know, you don't need to do the top row again. That's fine. Your second row is literally going to look just like this. So every other roll is going to have the top border fabric, and then every other row is just going to have the small strips going through. That's why you have double the strips of the long one or the short ones. All right, so I'm going to reiterate this here in a minute, but we'll come back as soon as we get all of these put together, and we can go from there. If you feel comfortable, that basically is the quilt. So we'll see you next time, or come on back and I'll show you what it looks like when we put these together. Alrighty, y'all, are you ready to see this? So I've put together the first part of the borders, so you can kind of see how this starts to come on. Now, I will tell you that I messed up this first time, so I want to point out to you a little thing that I had to do. I forgot that I was going to do it all, because I'm so used to doing the strips, you know? I forgot that I was going to do all one square and then the other square, so I put these two together, and then I was like, oh no. But look, you can easily correct it if you mess up. I just stitched these two together and then matched my seams, and then I had to do it on the bottom because I did it on the top. But as you can see, this is kind of how the border comes together. So just a quick reminder, because I messed it up, so you may as well. Probably not. You guys are probably much more proficient than I am. But you have your 4 squares. You're going to do the right side, the left side, the top, and then the bottom. And that's one block. That's one block right there. Then you're going to take the 4 square here, and you're going to do the top and then the bottom. And then on the next set of blocks, it's only going to be sides and sides, because you already have your tops and bottoms done. So any questions, leave comments below. Hopefully you like it. Tell a friend, and we'll be back soon with some more tutorials. Have a great day, y'all. Bye.